coming to you live from Sedona, Arizona. One of the most beautiful places on the planet for a lot of reasons. Red rocks are just gorgeous. The energy, the intense spirituality that's here is just off the charts. So we're here to introduce you guys to a nice new podcast that's coming out. We're calling it Star Wars, The Bear Awakens. Essentially, it's a journey that I've been on for the last 4 years or so, bringing me to a little bit more clear understanding of what we're calling the God consciousness, or being closer to God, basically. It's kind of like eliminating all the middlemen and just making sure that we understand the best way to be with God is to be with God, not through some other avenue. So there's a lot of learning involved with that. So we're creating a really interesting podcast, and I guess I'm saying we because I'm going to be partnering up with LoraLee. She is my partner in life, my spiritual partner, my God consciousness partner. She's the one that actually reintroduced me to the depth and understanding of what the God consciousness really is. So in doing that, I've decided that I was going to do a podcast and create a little more entertaining view on the concept that's floating around with Star Wars. Just a little background, I've been a Star Wars fan since the first movie came out, A New Hope, and then everything from there was buy it, have it, watch it as many times as is humanly possible. I raised my kids on it. In fact, instead of reading them bedtime stories that are nursery rhymes and all of that, I was breaking out novels from the Star Wars old universe, new universe, and just kind of doing all the voices as I read the stories to them at bedtime. We made sure that at least once a year we would have a Star Wars weekend where we would watch everything we owned from start to finish with minimal amount of sleep and maximum amount of popcorn. It was unbelievably entertaining, and there's a phrase that I would say to my kids along our life's journeys together. When something happened to them in their life and we had time to sit and talk about it, I would basically be able to refer to some sort of scene in a Star Wars movie episode or something that they could relate to. And I said, see guys, it all comes back to Star Wars. Now it's really funny how that kind of works out, because as we watch, or as we're watching the last couple of movies that they're putting out, that the LucasArts are putting out, LoraLee and I have decided that there's a real need for people to understand that there's a little bit more depth into Star Wars than the science fiction, than the action that goes along with it. As we all know, we're students of Star Wars. Some of us might be students of God or whatever religion you have. The truth is, guys, is that we can see the depth in anything that we watch as long as we're open to see the depth. So what LoraLee and I have put together is a real entertaining podcast that's going to involve things like looking at what is the difference or the similarities between the Force and the consciousness of God, that ultimate place. We're going to look at things like the midichlorians versus quantum physics and beyond the human form, like what happens when we die, what happens when this body in human form dies, and how George Lucas was able to kind of relay that to us in a really entertaining fashion. So we're going to try and just have a lot of fun with this, and we'll be asking questions back and forth and giving you guys a lot of opportunities to play along with us as well. Our first episode that we're planning is going to be called May the Force Be With You. I think that's an obvious start to anything that's Star Wars. A really good way to understand the depth of the concept of the Force, as well as the concept of the God consciousness. We're going to be trying to talk to you a little bit about how George Lucas kind of viewed his creation. It was an inspirational tool, not just for him and for the actors and actresses and for us fans, but for a lot of people that weren't really fans of the stories or of the movies or of the Lucas concept. It allows us to educate and teach people that there's a real truth behind being a good person. I'm not saying that the light side or the dark side is right. What I'm saying is there's a concept. On this planet, if you're a good person, good things will be coming to you in your path. If you're stuck in your ego, or you're stuck in your worries, your woes, your despair, your belief that you're lacking, then your life will portray that. So what we're going to be working on doing is during each of these episodes, we're going to be kind of bringing to life a little bit more of how this consciousness, this God consciousness, can allow us to learn from these situations that we've watched time and time again during the movies or during the TV episodes. whether it's Rebels or the Clone Wars. And Disney is heading in a great direction, and we're looking forward to seeing what comes out next. The Mandalorian is just around the corner. I might have to edit that because I might post this after The Mandalorian, but whatever. We hope that you guys find this incredibly enjoyable, and maybe it'll be very controversial as well. And that's okay too, because the truth is, guys, if we don't communicate, if we're not sharing our thoughts and our ideas, then some of this really good stuff that's all out there in social media and around the world will be missed, dropped, and somebody's life might be affected by it. So we're here to kind of share as much as we can, however we can, and we're going to try and do it in a really fun way. You know, you might hear some slapstick stuff. You're definitely going to potentially hear voices from me. As with all true Star Wars fans, we do our best to do our Chewbaccas and our Yodas and all of that. But we're going to bring this entertainment to you the best that we can in short little blurbs, probably no more than 15 minutes per pop. So with that in mind, thank you very much, folks. We're looking forward to seeing you on our first episode, episode 1. Should be airing very soon. But thank you very much for your attention just to this moment, and we'll be seeing you again soon.